Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing our product review for the Nuwave Mosaic Induction Wok. Is it right for you? That's what we're going to find out. So you ready? Let's get into this. Just a quick note, our reviews are based upon the things that we think are important. That might be a little bit different for you, so what we recommend doing is after watching our video, you watch a couple of other videos from different creators just so you get a wider range of opinions. That way you can make a much more informed buying decision, and that is the most important thing of all. Here's the wok. The entire package consists of the induction base, a carbon steel wok, and that measures 14 inches across. A frying rack that just sits on the side of the wok just like that. And you have that so if you're frying stuff in the wok and stuff gets done sooner than others, you can put those up on the rack and let the oil drip off of it while you're still cooking your other stuff. The package also comes with a stand for the wok. That's really convenient because you can set your wok straight on there and it won't roll around on you, since obviously the bottom of your wok is round and you don't want to be dealing with this. Also, you get a tempered glass lid that's even got a little vent hole on there too. According to Nuwave, this thing measures 15 by 15 by 4, and that is 15 inches across and 15 inches deep, but that 4 inches they state is just for the base. If you want a measurement with the wok sitting on top, you're looking at more like 6.5 for the wok, and if you got the lid on it, closer to 8 inches. It's got a nice non-slip covering on the handle, and as far as the construction goes, you can see that the handle is just formed out of one single piece of carbon steel, and that's just folded over on the back and welded. So I like that construction. Should prove to be pretty strong. For controls, we have the on-off button. We have a watt selector so we can change this between 600, 900, or 1500 watts. You've got a button for stages, and basically what that is you have stages 1 through 10 that you can set different times for. For instance, if I wanted to say I want stage 1 to run for something like 30 seconds, and then I wanted stage 2 to run for something like a minute or something like that, and then let's say stage 3, we'll skip that another 2 minutes. Well, then you can set different temperatures for each of these stages. For instance, this will be 515. We'll just change the 1 just so you can see. And then all these other ones we'll leave at 0. Then you'll see that stage 1 is 30 seconds, stage 2 is 1 minute, stage 3 is 2 minutes. And that would mean that it would run through your stages when you start your machine up, and it would change the temperature according to what you pre-selected for each stage when it reaches those. That's sort of a cool feature, I guess, but it's something that I would probably never use myself, just because I'd rather just be in control of it and I can make temperature adjustments as I see fit. I really wouldn't want to set it on a timer because it's going to sort of depend on what you got in the wok, how thick your meat cuts are, so on and so forth, as to whether or not you want to increase or decrease that temperature. So being stuck on a timer, probably not my first choice, but if that's something that interests you, then it's got that feature. Also, there's a preheat function here where you can set the temperature of your preheat, go ahead and start it up, and it will give you a notification whenever you've reached that temperature. That takes a little bit of the guesswork out of just turning the thing on and waiting and hoping you get to the right temp before you start throwing your ingredients in. Probably you'll use this feature just a couple of times until you figure out about how long it takes to preheat, and you most likely never use it again, but that might just be me. Let me know down in the comments if you're the kind of person that would use that preheat function religiously or not. Kind of like to know. As far as the two dials go, the left dial will change the temperature, and it'll also clear your entry if you haven't started anything yet, or it'll pause your cook if it's already started. So since I haven't done anything yet, I can hit this button and it clears out what I just put in. The right dial changes the amount of time that this thing will cook for. So for instance, I can change the temperature to 420 degrees, I'll just say, and then I'll change the time to, maybe it's going to be 5 minutes. Now we'll say 4 minutes because it's taking too long. And we would start that up, and it would start heating up the wok. If I want to pause this, I can hit the pause button here, and you see that it's paused and it turned off the wok, but we still have our 4 minutes here. And then if I were to hit it again while it's already paused, then it would clear the entire thing out. Hitting the start button while it's paused would just sort of continue your cook just like that. As far as the wattage selector goes, we pretty much kept our machine at 1500 watts for all of our testing. We did try it out at 600 and 900, but I just kind of felt like it just took too long to get the temperature up to where I wanted it to. And in my case, I'm not worried too much about using that extra power.
Engines overloading. More power.
If you want to conserve power, or you're someplace that you need to conserve power, then you can set this to either 600 or 900. It'll still get the job done, but it'll be a little bit slower. It is a pretty nice feature that you are able to select that wattage. Even though it's not something that I would personally use, I'm sure there's an awful lot of people that appreciate that. This machine is an induction wok, and what that means is that your base doesn't heat up. It relies on magnetism. So you've got your carbon steel pan here, which is magnetic, and you have your base that uses that magnetism to vibrate the iron molecules in the wok over there. And as that happens, it makes the wok hot. So you don't have direct heat coming off of this, and therefore you don't have a lot of wasted energy that you do with gas and regular electric burners. And since you're not wasting energy, all that energy transfers into the pan, and you end up with extremely fast cooking results and preheats. Also, another good thing is that the cleanup on this ends up being really easy because this isn't getting nuclear hot. This still gets hot because it will take the heat coming off of the pan back down onto the surface of this, but it doesn't produce heat, so that means anything that gets on here is going to be really easy to clean off. It's actually a pretty sexy looking machine too. The induction base can detect whether you have your pan on it or not, just based on that magnetism we were talking about. So if I were to start this up and remove the pan, you can see that the thing sort of pauses because it can't find the pan, and eventually it'll give you an error because it can't pick up the pan, and it'll shut back off again. And it'll bother you like that forever until you clear it. So that's sort of irritating, but I guess it's necessary. The lid is something that I kind of felt was a little bit funky. I mean, it sits on the inside of the pan here, and there's not really a ledge for it to sit on, so it's very easy for this to slide around. And you might think that it doesn't quite fit right, but really when you're talking about woks, I mean, that's kind of a wok thing, so that's not really a negative, I would say. But one thing I did notice that I thought was a little bit weird is that although this lid is perfectly round, the wok isn't. So if you're looking close, I don't know how well you can see this on camera, but this doesn't really make a seal all the way around. You could probably tell more if I push the corners here together. Now that's sitting flat, and all of those corners are kind of taken up a little bit, and you can see how much that lid moves around once I get that the right shape. It's kind of like that out of the box, and carbon steel is pretty thin, so it does tend to change shape a little bit like that. That's not really a big deal. In our testing, it wasn't really too bad, but I had plenty of air and steam leaking out around the sides of this, which is okay because the top wasn't chattering or anything like that, but there's not really a reason for a vent hole here if you can't even seal around the edges of the pan. So I appreciate them putting it on there, but it might be a little bit of a waste. Like I've already mentioned, the wok is made out of carbon steel. It's a pretty thin material and it's naturally magnetic, so it's really suited to use with an induction burner like this. But since it's just that thin layer of carbon steel, one issue that you have with this is heat retention. And also another problem you might have is your heat disbursement. So this is going to tend to have some hot spots on it, a lot like cast iron pans do. Also, like cast iron pans, this is something that you want to season. We didn't do that too much in our testing, but definitely carbon steel is something that you want to season and keep it seasoned. That way you can protect the surface of this. The more you season it, the blacker it's going to be and the more non-stick it becomes also. However, it's not like seasoning cast iron. You don't got a lot of steps you got to do. All you got to do is heat it up, rub some oil into it, burn the oil back off again, and you're seasoned. That whole process only takes about 20 minutes or so, and as long as you're doing that every so often, this should stay in pretty good shape. One really interesting thing about this wok, which is really the main reason I picked this up in the first place, is the fact that you have an induction burner that's the same shape as the bottom of the pan. If you just have a regular induction burner on your range, it's going to be flat. Therefore, if you buy a wok for home use, you'll typically be flat right here as well. The only parts that induction can heat up are parts that are making close contact to the induction surface. So for this pan, when you have this in here, it's actually heating everything from about right here over to about right here. So you have a pretty large cooking surface. If you're talking about a wok that would work on regular ranges, only this part right here is going to be flat. Therefore, all of your heating happens here, and all of this upper part of the pan here, which is really 2/3 of the pan, is not going to get direct heat from your induction burner. Therefore, they don't work really well on regular induction ranges. So if you like to do wok cooking, something like this is an extremely welcome addition to your kitchen. As far as noise goes, this thing is pretty darn quiet. So I went ahead and turned this on, and here is a sound meter, so you can see exactly how much noise we're getting out of this when it's turned on. And we're probably sitting around 61 decibels, which is not bad at all. And if I'm right up close to it, closer to 70. Definitely, we can live with that. Next, we're going to check and see how long this thing takes to preheat to 375 degrees. And we'll just set this on our stopwatch.
6 months later.
Okay, that just finished preheating, and it was just over 2 minutes to get it there, so that's not bad at all. Remember earlier we were talking about heat disbursement? Well, if we take our thermometer, if you look at the bottom of the pan, that's actually reading 460 degrees. But as I go up closer to the top of the edge, you'll see that that temperature comes down really quickly. Even at the top of the element right here, we're down to 247. And then as you move up to the side of the pan about halfway up, then you're all the way down to about 164 degrees. Well, 170, 160. But you can see as you move up the pan, that does get a lot cooler, which is pretty typical anyway with a wok. That's going to happen regardless. But if we were talking about something that's on a regular range with a flat bottom, this whole area would be hot. And everything from about there on up would be actually probably about 140, 150 degrees. And then maybe no heat at all up in this area. By the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. For testing, we did 3 different recipes. First, we did some steamed broccoli. After we preheated the pan, we threw in a little bit of oil and we dropped in our broccoli. We stirred the broccoli around to distribute the oil amongst all of the vegetables. Then we threw the lid on to cook them a little bit faster and just popped that off every once in a while to stir. Once we got a little bit of color on that broccoli, we popped the lid off and threw in a little bit of water to steam them. The vegetables were sizzling before, but adding the warm water to them did drop the temperature quite a bit, and it took a while for the temperature to get back up and start steaming the vegetables. We also cranked up the temperature in order to compensate for that. In the end though, the vegetables came out really great. Next we did a beef and broccoli recipe, and everything went about the same. First we cooked that broccoli halfway through and then set it aside, and then we add a little bit more oil and put in the beef. Our pan isn't really seasoned all that well just yet, but if you let that meat create its own crust, it will release from the pan anyway, which you can see right here. Cooking the beef all by itself worked extremely well. It is a wok, so you want to stir your ingredients quite a bit anyway, but I definitely noticed that anything that was kind of creeping up the sides of the pan wasn't cooking really all that well. It was mostly the stuff closer to the bottom that was really starting to sizzle up good. Not really a big deal, still a heck of a lot better than the results I've had in the past by cooking directly on a range. Once the beef was done, tossing the vegetables back in worked out really well until we started adding the sauce back in which case there was a definite drop in temperature. Remember how I was telling you earlier about heat retention on carbon steel? Well, definitely you'll notice that here, and if you're used to cooking on heavy stainless steel pans, then it could be just a little bit annoying. As soon as the sauce went in, there was a definite drop in temperature. Any sizzles that I had going on stopped pretty much immediately until I cranked the temperature up to compensate for it, and even in that case I had to wait a little while for the temperature to come back up. However, that only took a couple of minutes, and once you've cooked with this thing a couple of times, you're going to be able to learn to anticipate that type of stuff, and you'll probably have a much better experience. You can see the end result on that was absolutely fantastic. Much better than the results I've had actually even using stainless steel woks on flat ranges. For our third test, we did string bean chicken. Really, this is a very similar test to the beef and broccoli. Both have a single protein and both have a single vegetable that ends up getting cooked first halfway through and then set aside. And also with both, we had sauces that we poured in right at the end. However, with the string bean chicken, I made the sauce a lot thinner, and it took noticeably longer for it to heat that sauce up as opposed to the sauce that we made for the beef and broccoli. Still not really a deal breaker at all, and the results came out really good as well. So we made 3 dishes, and all 3 of them came out much better than our results with a stainless steel wok on an induction range. You can see that after using this a few times, we do have a little bit of discoloration here on the top and the bottom, but if you season your pan on a regular basis, that right there is probably not going to be as much of an issue. In any case, it hasn't affected the performance on this thing at all. And after this video, I'm probably going to go ahead and get this thing seasoned just so it doesn't look like that. For cooking at home, the Nuwave Mosaic Induction Wok is a pretty compelling choice. It's not perfect, but in a lot of ways it can really help if you like to do stir fry. The price isn't too bad either. If you'd like a little bit more information about the Nuwave Mosaic Induction Wok, we do have an Amazon affiliate link to it down in the description of the video. If you buy anything through those links, we do make a small commission, but it doesn't change the price that you pay 1 cent. If you like this video, then you might like this video right here where we did a full review on the Ninja Never Dull stainless steel knife set. Those turned out way better than I expected, and if you're in the market for knives, that might be a good watch for you. Well, that's it for now. I hope to see you again really soon, and until that time, I'm Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.